In the last video, we saw that we were having some problems with the bind around the chin, also around the belt buckle. Let's take a look at seeing if we can fix those. I'm going to come up here to the head control and let me just hit R twice, and as we move it around, it doesn't look too bad here. You can kind of see some stretching, but if we choose the neck, you can see we've got quite a bit of stretching there, and that's not going to work. So let's see if we can work on that. The first thing I'll do is go ahead and select the character, and I'm going to come over here to the object mode menu and choose weight paint, and that should allow us to see the weights on the character. You can see this one down here is currently selected. We've got thigh 1 on the right. If I scroll up, let's see if we can find, here's the head, right here. So this is what the influence of the head looks like. Let me see if I can make this menu a little bit bigger. Scroll that up. I'm just going to grab this and drag it down, just so we have a better list of our vertex groups. So for each vertex group here, we have a certain amount of weight or influence on the vertices of the character. The red color means that it's really influenced or almost all influenced by that bone. And then as you move to green and blue, it gets less and less. So if we tab into edit mode here, I'm going to hit the tab key, go into edit mode, and I'm going to deselect everything here. And with this, move this up, with this head vertex group selected, I can click select to see what vertices are a part of that group. So I'll hit select, and there they are. So we can see that there's quite a few vertices being influenced by the head bone that are actually down here into the back and onto this piece of armor. And I don't know that we want that. In addition, if we take a look at the neck, let me scroll all the way down here. I think the neck is right here. I'll hit the A key to deselect, select the neck vertex group and choose select, and you can see that the neck is influenced way down here into the back and more onto the armor and way up here into the head, and that's why it's influencing that chin. It's because we have so much influence up into the head. So what let's do is I'm going to go to the side view and the orthographic view here, and I'll go ahead and hit the Z key for wireframe. And what we need to do is remove the influence of all these extras and just select what we want for the head and the neck. So let me begin with the head first. I'll go up here to the head, and I'll hit the A key to deselect. I'll hit select over here to see that vertex group. I'll come down here and click remove to remove all those vertices out of that vertex group. Now I'm going to select just what I want to be in there. So I'll hit the C key to enable the circle select tool. And I'm just going to click and drag all of these vertices in here. So we only have the head vertices selected. And now with the head vertex group still selected, I'll click assign. Okay, so now if we tab back out of edit mode and look at the weight paint, you can see that that influence is completely and totally 100% on the head. That's what we want. So let's do that again for the neck. I'm going to come down here to the neck vertex group, and I'll click select, and I'll remove all of these. Remove. Now I'm just going to select the vertices that we want. So I'll press Alt and click one of these edges, and then I'm going to press Control and the plus key and expand this selection so it's just the neck. There we go. I'm going to tab back into here and I'll choose face mode. And I just want to deselect these faces. I don't want it to influence the armor at all here. Alright, there we go. If I go back to vertex mode, you can see the vertices that are affected, and then I'll click assign. All right, and now if we go back to weight paint mode, you can see it's influencing only on the neck. There's a little bit of overlap over here on the armor. Let's see if that's going to be a problem. So I'll go back to object mode. I'll select this control and let's test it out. Not bad. It's pulling a bit on that armor. I'd like it to not do that. So let me go back to weight paint mode. And let's go ahead and remove the vertices along there. Hit the A key to deselect those, and I'm just going to select these points right along here. And let's see how this works. Something like that. And then I'll hit remove. All right, now let's go back to object mode, select that control, and let's move it around a bit. Yeah, so now we get not much movement out of that armor. Looks like there's still a little bit going on, but not too bad. Yeah, I think we're okay there. And let's test the head. The head as well seems to move okay, and the jaw seems to be okay, but take a look at the eyes. Wow. Let's work on the eyes now. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to object mode and select that eye right here. Select one of those eyes. And I want to come up to the head bone, and I want to make sure that it's 100% being influenced by the head bone. So I'll tab into edit mode, hit the A key, select the head vertex group, and click assign. Now I want to come back down to the neck vertex group and hit remove to make sure it isn't influenced by that. So let's see now what happens when we go to pose mode and move the neck around. All right, that one eye is pretty well locked in place, but now we need to do that for the right eye. So select that eye, tab into edit mode, select all the vertices, remove it from the neck, and assign it to the head. Now, as we've been doing this, notice that the weight here has been at 1, has been at 100%. Now we can adjust the weight to whatever value we want, but for right now, I think 100% is what we need for these particular pieces. All right, so if I select that neck, hit the R key, looking pretty good. How about the head? Yeah, okay. I think we got it. So the weight, once again, on these items looks like there's the neck and there's the head. So let's take a look at these other parts of the body, like this belt buckle and the torso. So what let's do is let's see what is influencing this particular buckle. So to do that, I'll go back and select the character, hit the tab key, and I'm going to go ahead and go into wireframe and front view and orthographic view here. Now what we want to do is try and find the vertex groups that are affecting this particular belt buckle. So I'm going to scroll all the way down here, and let's first look at the hips right here, and I'll click select. And here is what's being influenced by the hips. Now if we tumble around, we see that that particular buckle really isn't being affected by that at all. But I'm thinking it needs to be. I'm thinking this really should be held in place by the hips. So what let's do is let's go ahead and select this object. I'm going to hover over it, press the L key, and hover over here and press the L key as well, and select all of that. And I'm going to go ahead and assign these vertices to the hips vertex group. So I'll just click assign. There we go. So now we know it's assigned to where we need it to be. But is it still being influenced by other vertex groups that we don't want it to be influenced by? So let's take a look at the spine here. I'll hit the select button, and That's being influenced. That's not being influenced by that. Okay. So that's, and in fact, the spine bone, that's a little too much. We're going to need to take out some of this and maybe even take out some of that up here. So, okay, we've taken a look at the hips and the spine. Let's look at the chest here. I'll click select. Ah, there it is. So you can see that even though the chest bone is way up here, it's influencing these vertices here. So what let's do is let's go ahead and select that again, hit L and L, and let's remove it from this vertex group. So I'll click remove, and now let's give this a try. I'll go back to object mode, click on this guy here, and now let's see what happens. Better. Now it's not being influenced by any of those. It should be, however, influenced by this. That's right. So that's correct. However, we've got more influence happening on the belt. So just quickly, let's go ahead and take care of that. Let's test the chest vertex group here. I'll select that. Okay, that looks pretty good. Let's select the spine, hit the A key to deselect, and select that. That, I think, is our problem. We need to deselect all of these down here. I don't think we want all of this area being affected by the spine. So what let's do is just once again hover over the belt, hit the L key to select that, and now I want to remove that from this vertex group. So I'll click remove, and now if we go back to object mode, hit that spine bone and rotate it, now we're getting better deformation there. Now we've still got more to do, of course, because we've got to remove all of this off of that as well. But you can see the basic process. So what I will do is go through and find specific parts of the character that I think are deforming a little oddly, and I'll go through the process of removing the problem areas from vertex groups that should not be influencing it, and making sure that it's being fully influenced by the bones that do need to influence it. There's one more thing I'd like to do before we're done with the rigging process, and that's to turn off the stretchy. Right now, if I choose one of the IK handles and move it, you can stretch the arms and the legs, and that's really cool and everything, but I don't think it's going to work with the way I want to animate it. I don't want to be accidentally stretching the arms and legs as I animate the character. So I'm going to press the N key, and with that IK handle selected, I'm just going to scroll all the way down here, and this auto stretch IK, I can take this all the way down to 0, and now if I hit G and move around, you can see the arm won't stretch beyond where it's supposed to. The IK handle will move out, but the arm won't stretch. So I just want to go through and do that for all of the IK handles on both the arms and the legs. And that should take care of that. There we go. All right. Well, I think we're about ready to begin animating. I'm going to go through and do a little more tweaks and make sure that all the weights are the way we need them. But after that, I think we're pretty much ready to begin animating. And I think we're just going to do the basic animation cycles for a video game character. The idle, the run, the jump. And I have a warhammer, and I might make a shield for this guy. We'll see. I'd like to have him look like the original drawing that we began with. So maybe I'll bring those in too, and we'll parent those to his hands.